think we'll move to the next session, which is by Sumit, Mathur, and Vineet Saini. Please connect your laptop if you're required. So I would just like to introduce you both, sir. So Sumit Mathur, having 26 over his experience in investment banking technology, and Vineet Saini as SVP, Artificial Intelligence Innovation and Strategy at NatWest Bank, to speak on Demystifying the Gen AI Hype, a practical guide to large language models with RAG. Over to you both. Please welcome with a huge round of applause.
Yep. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Hello. All right. Okay. Welcome everyone to this post-lunch session. We'll try to make it interesting and interactive so that it's engaging for everyone. Yeah. Just a little bit additional to my background. My name is Sumit Mathur. I've been working in banking technology for last over 25 years now. I have worked at Wall Street for the first 10 years of my career, and I've been with NatWest for the last 16 years. Currently, I'm leading their GenAI practice in their retail bank. In terms of my education, I have a bachelor's in computer science, and I've done a master's in artificial intelligence from Georgia Tech. And that's my Vineet. That's my friend Vineet over here. About you?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. Okay, good. I'll just keep it close. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. And no, it's okay.
It's working.
Okay, it's good. Yeah. Okay. All right. And my name is Vineet, and I'm working with Sumit in NatWest Bank, and I'm thrilled to be here, partly because there are a lot of AI enthusiasts over here. Great to meet and see the opportunity to connect with everyone, and partly because my wife is going to her hometown today, so I'm bachelor for next 1 week. Jokes apart. So basically, I'm working with NatWest Bank, and I've been writing waves of AI from the time when it was basically building rudimentary machine learning models without any Python packages like linear regression models. Now deciding some of the best large language models to choose from, and giving some use case analysis and how we can improve the customer experience overall within the bank. I'm working with retail banking with NatWest Bank as a senior vice president in AI, artificial intelligence research team. And overall, yeah, I think I've also done masters from Georgia Tech University. And today we are going to talk about one of the most powerful architecture that's driving the overall large language model applications. I would say around 60 to 70% of the applications within the industry are driven through RAG architecture. And what we're going to talk about is the basic RAG architecture. I'll move over to the next slide. So 3 basic contents we are covering over here. What is RAG? Just a brief history. RAG was basically published in the paper in 2020 by Facebook researchers, and since then, it is driving waves across the industry in terms of some large-scale implementations. Second, we'll have a quick demo to showcase how RAG is essentially used with our large language models. And the third one is, of course, some of the practical aspects. I'll hand it over to Sumit next.
And actually, this is a forward, yeah? Okay, thanks, Vineet. So just by show of hands, how many people have heard about RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation? Very good. Great, very nice. What I'll do is I'll just give a quick overview. Maybe it's a recap for people who've heard about it and an introduction to others who have not. ChatGPT. Everyone must have used ChatGPT for now. Yeah, by now everyone must have used it. It's an amazing tool. You can go to ChatGPT, ask question, and it gives you an answer. Now, wouldn't it be amazing if you could have the same power of generating answers with your own data set? Yeah? Imagine let's say if I'm a researcher writing my thesis paper, and I have tons and tons of documentation that I need to research, obviously digitized, not physical books. Wouldn't that be amazing if I could use ChatGPT into my research? Similarly, if I'm a large organization, let's say a big, like a law firm. You all know, right, law firms have tons and tons of documentation. Wouldn't it be amazing if I could just ask a very specific question about a specific case, and I can get an amazing answer, which is traversed through hundreds of documents and curated for me. And that's what RAG does. RAG gives you capability of being able to apply power of large language models on your own data. Now, you could be an individual who's searching through your own set of documents, or you could be a large organization where you're going through your own data. So that's essentially what RAG is. Now we'll talk about RAG architecture. Yeah, what does the RAG architecture looks like? But since this was a post-lunch session, we thought we'll make it slightly more interesting, and we'll talk about RAG in a story form. Okay? So let's forget about all the technology, all the jargons, large language model, and let's listen to this interesting story. So there was this very wonderful lady. Her name was Ragini. It starts with RAG. Sorry for the cheeky name. And she was running a law firm. She was running a law firm. Now, what was happening is Ragini would get a lot of customers, right, who had questions about various aspects of corporate law. They would just come up to her, and they would ask questions. Now, obviously, she was a very busy lady. She was a lawyer herself, and she was taking a lot of time in running these cases. So what she did is she went to a very good university, like an MDI, hired a top-of-the-line talent, Lakhvir Lalman, or LLM. There you go. She hired Lakhvir Lalman, but she didn't hire this guy into her organization. He was coming from McKinsey, a very high-paid consultant, not part of her little outfit, but a consultant from McKinsey. And she just sent all the customers to Lakhvir Lalman or LLM. Now, when the customers came to Lakhvir, and if they had questions about the legal system, if I have breached a corporate law, what is the fine for that? What are the tariffs for international trade, etc.? All those generic questions, Lakhvir was able to answer those. Because he had studied at a very prestigious institute, and he had very good worldly knowledge. He was a 2021 graduate, by the way. So he had all the world knowledge from 2021. I can see some people still smiling. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. One day what happened is there was a customer who came and asked Lakhvir a question which was very specific to this law firm. How many cases have you dealt with on this specific topic? Now Lakhvir was very obliged to answer the question, and he gave out the answer. He hallucinated effectively. He did not have access to the company's internal data because he was from a very expensive company called McKinsey, and Ragini did not expose the internal data to him. He just did not know what to say, and he just gave an answer which was not correct. Ragini got the whiff of it, and she's like, I need to solve this problem. How do I do that? So she went out and hired another person. Her name was Rita Pal, right? This Rita Pal will become something called retriever in the end, when Vineet covers it. So sorry for the cheeky names, but it's just for you to be able to have a memory anchor to understand this. So then what happened is the questions were first given to Rita. Rita would then go through all the documentation of this law firm. There's hundreds and thousands of documents, would take the relative snippets out, yeah? So the relevant set of documentation or snippets to this particular question, she would take these out and collate them all together in single place. She would append it to the question, and then there were certain instructions with Ragini also provided that to Lakhvir, that when you are answering the question, do it in such a manner, right? Do it politely, use this kind of language. So there were instructions. So these three things put together, the question that was asked by the customer, the relevant information that Rita, she searched through this tremendous amount of documentation, and the instruction given by her boss. She put this all together and passed it on to Lakhvir. Now, Lakhvir Lalman or LLM, he was a very bright, intelligent guy. He understood all of that, and he curated a perfect answer for the customers. And voila, the problem is solved. And that's what it is, RAG architecture. This is effectively what RAG architecture is. where you can use your own internal data, your own company data. In step 1, there's a process called retriever, which would retrieve relevant information. It will go through all your documentation, and we'll talk about vector databases, etc. But in theory, that's what it is. It selects necessary snippets of documentation, attaches instructions along with the question, gives this to the large language model, who then generates and curates the answers, which is specific for that question, because that knowledge was lying within the organization. It was not lying outside in the internet. Yeah? So that's what the architecture is like, pretty much. Any questions from anyone? I was promised by the group of students over there, they'll have a lot of questions. So feel free to ask questions. Any questions, anyone? OK, no problem. We'll move to the next one. Vineet, over to you.
OK, thanks, Sumit. And quite an interesting story to articulate the RAG architecture. I will move next. OK, what Sumit explained was a nicely articulated story about the RAG architecture. Now let's deep dive to demystify what it technically means. So if you see over here, there are multiple components. So you would have probably guessed while Sumit was explaining this story, there are multiple powerful components which works in conjunction with each other to generate this RAG architecture. So now let's discuss each components piece by piece. The first component which Sumit told about, or probably the first component which you see over here, is we're going to set up a library for Retapal. Akka, what we also call as document store. And what I preferably call document store as non-parametric memory. So what this non-parametric memory is, these large language models have been trained on tremendous amount of internet data. Now this internet data is basically fed, like for GPT 3.5 till 2021, for GPT 4 till 2023. Beyond that, they really don't know any information about it. So we need to set this so these memories, or these models which they're trained on, are called parametric memories, which are basically the memories embedded into large language model parameters. What we are talking about here is the non-parametric memory, which means some memory which is imposed on large language models, which models really don't know about. So this is something which we call as non-parametric memory, not residing within large language models. So we set up the library for Retapal. The library basically comprises of two parts: data sources. These data sources can be anything. It can be the websites. It can be your own proprietary data, anything. And the second thing which you need is the data store management. Now this becomes a critical point while setting up RAG architecture. Data sources, something which we call as vector databases, which works really well in RAG architecture or in the RAG setup. So what I mean by vector databases are, so vector is nothing, not many jargons. I'll try to simplify things. Vectors are nothing but, you can think about the large documents converted into numbers are called as vectors. And then we basically do a lot of semantic embeddings of these vectors. Now again, a specific jargon, but I'll try to simplify it. What I mean by semantic embedding is that, I'll try and give an example. For example, I'll say two sentences. One sentence, I'm standing on a bank of a river and enjoying the cool breeze. The second sentence is, I'm standing in a queue in Bank of Baroda and I'm getting frustrated. So the same word bank used in two different sentences, entirely two different contexts. And this is what the vector databases does. They basically capture the context or the semantic meaning of the entire sentence, which what it basically means is, if I basically ask a question that, how is my customer experience in Indian banks? My question would basically retrieve the banking and banking kind of answers from the documents, and not the riverbank kind of an answer. So this is what the semantic embedding means. It basically stores the entire context. Some of the vector databases which are commonly used are Elasticsearch, Pinecone, Viviate, and others. And then the next component is setting up an efficient retriever. We have set up the library. We need someone to efficiently retrieve the data from this large library. So we set up Retapal. Retapal is nothing but a retrieval. So what we do with retrieval is there are advanced retrieval techniques which are basically used, such as OpenAI embeddings, dense vectorization. Facebook developed FAISS, which is Facebook AI semantic search algorithm. It basically helps you retrieve the documents really fast from the huge library.
I think there might be a question at the back. It's your moment now. Ask the question.
Oh, you need mic?
There's a mic over there.
Sir, is any, which specific vector database do you recommend we use in our project? Like I'm using a RAG model locally for a minor project.
Yeah, good question. Good question. And then let's clap for this good question. I think being a student, he's asking really nice questions. So I think for your POCs, demonstration purposes, you can use ChromaDB. You can use FAISS, that they are basically open source libraries. In the bank setups, we basically prefer to use Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch 8 comes with a hybrid search to really good work. Pinecone is another one which we basically use, which we can use in the large setup. These are again the paid services, but from the open source perspective, you can use these two.
By the way, sorry for interrupting, but just as a FYI, we'll be showing a demo with a code, with a working code, Python notebook, which we will make available to you. So you can go and play around and set up your own RAG architecture on your machine, pretty much, on your personal machine. And I would highly encourage people who have that Python and coding background to try it out.
Yeah, we have just shared, we'll just share very rudimentary working code. Okay, I'll move next. So we have set up the library. We have created Ritika Pal, the efficient retriever, to get the nodes relevant from the library fairly quickly. Now, the next one is let's enable Lakhvir Lal Man, which is large language model. Now, again, how do we come up with a large language model? There are plethora of large language models in industry. So it depends essentially on your use case. And there would be many factors which we are going to discuss next, but you can basically look at the capabilities that large language model offers. There are a lot of open source, there are basically a lot of open source information available first from Hugging Face leaderboard, which basically gives you the table which you see over here, the list of models, the hallucination rate around them, how many of these models with respect to percentage gives factually correct answers, what are the answer rates, average summary in their answers. This is the leaderboard which keeps on changing in Hugging Face. So you can as a first point, get through these models to try, and then you basically need to experiment with a lot of models, be it large language or small language.
Again, sorry for just a sense check. Do people understand hallucination? Does somebody want to explain what hallucination is? I think ma'am also used it earlier. Sangeeta ma'am used that word. Just a sense check. What is hallucination in very basic terms? There you go, sir.
Hallucination is something which actually doesn't exist, but in our own perception, it is existing for us. एक type का वहम हो गया है, धोखा लग रहा है.
Absolutely, that's a very good point. And that's what happens is sometimes these large language models, they hallucinate where they just make up information. You must have seen when ChatGPT came out, it was just giving strange answers. For example, you can ask ChatGPT, on Mars, if I have to go to school and there is a traffic jam, what should I do? And it'll still go ahead and answer that question. I mean, what the hell? I mean, there is no school on Mars, but it'll still go ahead and you know, it just makes up. Somehow it feels compelled to answer these questions. And that's what's called hallucination. We will talk about hallucination. It's a very big practical problem because the main theme of our discussion is practical implementation of large language models on how to deal with hallucination through prompt engineering and other methods.
I'll keep a note of watch as well. Probably we're running out of time. We'll try to wrap up early. Okay, then here we go. Once you have set up all these components, the power comes in while we integrate all these components together. The first part which you see over is the question asked by anyone. It comes to the retriever. The retriever is a smart retriever. Retriever takes a look at the entire knowledge base, gets the relevant document back, and then Rita basically feeds the question plus the relevant document to large language model. The large language model is intelligent enough to look at the questions, the documents, and generate the highly contextualized answer. Yep. There are three important things over here, which basically sets apart RAG architecture to other large language models. First one is it reduces the hallucination, wherein it basically answers specific to these knowledge base only. Which is really important. And then you can also trace back the answers generated by LLM to which relevant documents it has been answered from. Right now in today's era, you basically won't be able to trace back the answers which GPT is giving to you. But over here, you would be able to trace back everything. So this is the enormous power of the RAG architecture, specifically in the governance setup.
Shall we look at the demo now quickly?
I'll move next to the demo.
Okay, there you go.
I have to move there.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'll keep you entertained. While he's been setting that up, just reiterating, if you're working in a large organization or medium or small, this is your chance. You can walk up to your boss and you can say that, hey, we can give ChatGPT kind of capability for our own organization database, right? To our external customers or even to our internal customers. Isn't it? Like data has grown so much, in organization, and even our own personal data has grown so much. And RAG is your opportunity for that implementation. It's a flavor of the season now. Everybody is doing it. Wherever this kind of capability is being set up, it is being done through RAG. Because we are plugged into the community, we talk to other people. That's the flavor of the day. Yeah.
Okay, so Sumit, I've got this Jupyter notebook on the screen now.
This will be available to you, by the way, for playing around later on. Yeah.
Very basic stuff over here. Not meant to scale. It requires a lot of stuff to scale from here, but a rudimentary stuff to basically give you the sense of how RAG architecture works. We install first the self-one, which you see over here. We install the basic libraries, and we basically this one you basically install some of the basic libraries like OpenAI embeddings, FAISS, which is the vector database.
And can I quickly give the overview of what are we trying to achieve here? Is it okay if I just quickly cover that?
Carry on.
So what Vineet is doing is this is a very interesting use case related to Bollywood, and I'm glad somebody comes from that background. So in this use case, it's for these celebrity junkies. There are people who want to know everything about celebrities for whatever reason. Different people have different tastes. Now, this particular use case is, if you go on the internet, if you go to ChatGPT, even now, if you ask something about Ranveer Singh or Deepika Padukone, etc., you will get a lot of information. But this user wanted question specific to this show called Coffee with Karan, right? Have people watched that show? Like it, hate it? I don't know. There are two types of people. Some who really like it and some who really don't like it. So there's nobody in the middle. And this use case, what Vineet has done is, he's taken the transcript of 2 episodes of Coffee with Karan, which is not available on the internet, and backed it with the power of large language model, which one have you used? GPT?
Transcript?
No,
the language model is GPT.
GPT, yes. Yeah. And with that, you can ask question that, okay, in that episode, what did Ranveer Singh say about Deepika Padukone, or whatever answers for that specific, because he has used the transcript and he's fed it into the model.
Yeah. So we have specifically used 2 Coffee with Karan episode, one which was recently released, which was basically Ranveer and Deepika Padukone's episode, and the second one was again quite a cheeky one, wherein it was Mahesh Bhatt and Imran Hashmi with Karan Johar. So what we have basically done is the step 1 over here. This is what step 1 and 2. This is where we are setting up the library, and we are basically setting up Ritika Pal. So if you see over here, we have basically downloaded all the transcript of Coffee with Karan episodes. For these 2 episodes, we have used AWS Transcribe over here. And then the second one is we have used the embeddings, which is a data store, the library which you talked about, Ritika's library. And then the third one is the efficient retrieval, which is nothing but Ritika. So if you see over here, there are basically questions which are asked by the questions which are asked from Ritika. The questions are like, did Ranveer ask from Deepika's parents before proposing her, and why? So this is.
So let's ask the audience who watched this one. This was a tell-all episode where they opened about their marriage. Do you know what was the answer? Did Ranveer ask Deepika's parents before proposing? Does anyone remember? Yes, she remembers. Did he? He did.
Let's look at the.
He mentioned that he went there and he tried to change their opinion about him because he's very flamboyant and
yes.
all that. So something like that.
I think you're
let's
right.
Look at
I
the
think
video.
Well, let's look at the video. I think
well.
initially he did not, then eventually he did.
He went and stayed with them or something.
Yes.
Yeah, 2015 I proposed to her. before anyone knew anything.
So you put a beautiful diamond ring on it?
Yes, sir. Beyond my resources at the time, perhaps. But even so, a very impressive one. I was in cahoots with my sister and my mom acquiring the ring, and we were going to take a holiday. And I decided that I would propose to her on the holiday. I got the ring, and my folks were like, "So you're gonna propose?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, you don't wanna consult with her parents or ask her parents or anything. I didn't have that degree of maturity back then.
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, why? I'm marrying her, so I'll ask her." I mean, now in retrospect, perhaps they could have said, maybe you should consider touching base with her parents before you do this, which I should have done.
Might have been the right thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
which I did. So I was like, no, I'm marrying her, I'll ask her.
Yeah.
So initially he just thought that I'll just go and propose, but eventually I think he was probably.
So this is the specific question which was asked, and Ritika, being a retriever, retrieved the set of documents which were basically similar, helpful to get the answers from these documents. If you see over here, these are the set of snippets which were retrieved by Ritika as a smart retriever. If I basically search for, let's say, parents, you see over here they are basically the context, which basically is giving some of the documents around Ranveer Singh and Deepika's parents, the conversation around those similar lines. So these are the documents retrieved by Ritika. Next comes the role of Lakhveer Lal Man. These are the LLM prompts along with the documents which we have given. So if we see over here, we set up the LLM chain. We have used GPT 3.5 over here. There is a system prompt that goes behind a QA chain that answer this question specifically using the documents provided. And then the question over here, which was given to LLM, did Ranveer ask from Deepika's parents before proposing her and why? All the documents were fetched. It was given to LLM. If you see over here at the down, there's an answer from LLM. No, Ranveer did not ask Deepika's parent before proposing to her. He just mentioned that he did not have the degree of maturity back then and felt that since he was marrying her, he would just ask her directly. So this was the response coming out of LLM. But there are a lot of components working in conjunction with each other, as you would have guessed. Sure. See, yeah, so what we have basically done is we have taken the video. Now we have used AWS Transcribe, which basically gets the transcript of all the videos. And then we have put those transcription to Ritika Pal's library, and then use those transcriptions to get the answer back. Now you can integrate it further to get the videos played back again to the systems and to the pipeline.
But here, this is a large language model, so the generative part is still text. Yeah, I'm sure in future with new models like Sora, you could have a video answer. Who knows, right? Or you can have a video clip played as well. But here, the answer is generated, and it has generated the answer in its own words. It has not really quoted. But thanks for that question. Shall we look at the other one, the Imran Hashmi one, yeah? Just another one, very interesting.
Yeah, this is from the Imran Hashmi's, this is from the Imran Hashmi's episode. Again, so this is one of the example wherein I'll just, shall I play the video first?
Let's ask first, so
okay.
they're Bollywood people.
So this is the question. What would Imran like to steal from Abhishek Bachchan and Shah Rukh Khan respectively? This was the question asked from Karan Johar in Coffee with Karan. Okay, rapid fire round. So anyone knows the answer? No? So let's ask from Lakhveer.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, so you're a true fan. It's really good. Very close. Shall we play the video quickly? And we're.
If you could steal one thing from the following people, not necessarily materialistic, what would you steal? Abhishek Bachchan.
His wife.
Ranbir Kapoor.
His girlfriends.
Okay, Saif Ali Khan.
His wife.
You're after their
I
wife.
am after that Amber.
All right. Shah Rukh Khan. His wife.
His house.
Not his wife, thank God.
His house. I'll leave him alone.
All right.
Cool. I think let's move to the last slide. We're out of time, Vineet.
Sure,
I'll just quickly wrap. I think we'll have to wrap
so
up.
this is the answer given. Imran would like to steal Abhishek Bachchan's wife and Shah Rukh Khan's home. You can run these things. We'll place this notebook on our website.
Shall we just quickly go to the last slide then? Sorry, we're out of time. Just
quickly, after demo, we'll move over to the last slide. Just word of caution. The notebook which we have shown over to you is basically a rudimentary working model, but when you move it to production with some industry use cases, you basically need to define the large language model operations, and there are few things which you basically need to be taken care of. Probably I can just cover them quickly in 1 minute, and then we'll hand it over to Sumit. Things which you need to consider are the model infrastructure. Do you need to deploy your own models to your own infrastructure? It comes with a lot of cost. Or use managed services like OpenAI managed services from GPT. You just use APIs. Data management, setting up Ritika Palan library, really important stuff. Model development, you need to see, do you want to fine tune the model? Or you just need to use it out of the box, like GPT-1. Model integration, you need to see how do you integrate it with your existing applications. And look at the creation of endpoints, load balancing, auto scaling, and other stuff. And then security and privacy, of course. You don't want to leak out any secured information from your banks or from your company outside. Model monitoring. This is really important. As your model moves to production, you need to monitor hallucination rate, cost, latency, resource utilization, etc. So these are some of the things which you need to take care while deploying models in production. And the last, I will hand it over to Sumit on the RAG challenges.
Thank you, that's fine. I'll just quickly summarize that. Thanks. So this is the last aspect. The things around setting up these RAG architecture. This is really amazing. This is very powerful. But we have to put the right controls in place. As Sangeeta ma'am also spoke earlier. There are things like hallucination, prompt injection, and HAP, hate, abuse, and profanity, bad language, etc. These things happen. So we have to make sure when we implement these solutions, we put these guardrails in place. There was a discussion about guardrails. Some of the ways you can put the guardrails is through model tuning and prompt engineering, as well as having probabilistic models to detect prompt injection, and lastly, HAP moderation layer. This is a layer which will restrict that HAP. With this, we come to the end. Okay, there you go. There's a question. Yes.
Actually, I don't know what is prompt injection.
Okay, good. Prompt injection is a way of confusing the large language model. See, because there are all sort of people out there. Not everybody will have good intention. They can have bad intention. So in prompt injection, you can instruct the large language model to use a specific website to answer the question. So what it will do is it will get confused, and instead of using the data that you have provided, it might use that data and give out answers which are not favorable to your organization. So that's a prompt injection.
I'll just give a quick example.
It's hacking, yeah.
It's like hacking. So I'll give you an example. Chevrolet recently introduced their chatbot meant for their organization, and then the customer, with bad intent, they basically tried some bad languages with the Chevrolet models, and then it was speaking some bad languages for the company itself. So it was giving some really bad stuff for Chevrolet itself. Like Chevrolet is a bad company. It's not giving a true customer experience, so on and so forth. And it was basically trending on Twitter in no time. So this is something which we really need to take care when we are deploying large language models, specifically for big industries. Things can go wrong really fast.
Okay, perfect.
This is basically LLM's counterpart of SQL injection.
Yes.
It's similar to
SQL very
injection.
similar, yes. Absolutely. Okay, thank you very much. We are out of time. So just to summarize, we discussed 3 things today. Firstly, we talked about LLM and their architecture with Rita Pal and all that interesting stuff. Then we looked at the demo. We'll obviously share this code with you. And lastly, we talked about the LLM ops, the pipeline that we have to build, and some of the things that we have to take care to make sure this is a safe and secure environment. With this, we come to our end. Thank you very much. That's me, Sumit Mathur.
Thanks, guys.
Vineet.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Vineet and Sumit, for really an eye-opener session. It was really interestingly articulated about the RAG architecture, and I would like to correct you, Vineet. It was not Ritika Pal. It was Rita Pal. That you know better. Okay, so our next speaker is a strong researcher, experienced leader. Okay, my apologies. Can we have Sanjay Jain for sharing a token of appreciation to Sumit and Vineet, please? Sanjay Jain. Can we please applaud for them for the really great, interesting session? Thank you.